what's going on in the COVID scenario right now. Jobs are at premium. This will turn around. It will go away. But the smarter ones are going to land, to my mind, even better jobs than they had in the past. It's an event of absolutely crazy proportions. Will we
Yes.
come out of it? Yes. Have the confidence, have the courage, have the conviction. We will come out of it.
First and foremost, I really, want to understand, and I'm sure everyone who's watching this would love to understand, what are you seeing when it comes to transactions? What are some of the things that you're seeing at the helm as as the leader of MX here in India?
So, what, Shraddha, is happening is that there is a digital revolution that's going on. It started actually 4 years ago, and demonetization was a trigger effect, trigger impact. Really, that was what was, if I may, the aha moment in digitization in India. There's been a lot of financial inclusion since then.
Yes.
You've heard about UPI transactions, credit cards, debit cards. So there is a lot of proliferation of digital instruments across the country. Uh, Post demonetization, GST came in, some other stuff happened. So this is a journey we've been on now, more pronounced over the last 4 years than any time before. What COVID has done is it's taken a little bit of, it put a little bit of a halt with what was going on. But post in the last 3 months, again, the volumes have started picking up significantly with one pronounced change where a lot of digital payments, right, are happening online. And for all the
Hmm.
right reasons, malls are closed. You can't go into restaurants. You can't go into an offline retail. So people are shopping from home. So at American Express alone, whatever volumes we are seeing over the last 2 months, 90% of that is online. So it's
Wow.
just amazing. It's just amazing. But digital is here to stay. Financial services are here to stay. And because of the under penetration right now, when you look at digital payments into the overall private consumption expenditure in India, it's only 10%. So it's a huge opportunity.
MSMEs and small merchants and small businesses have been affected significantly, and they contribute to the growth of the economy. Is there anything that you are doing? Is there anything you are seeing? And also, I would like to get your views on what should we be doing as a country to accelerate momentum when it comes to small merchants and businesses?
So I'm so glad you asked that, Shraddha, because those are the people, those are the merchants, those are the establishments that really need help, and they need help more than any time. I mean, they need it now more than any time ever before. So what we have done is in across the world, we have American Express, as you know, is a global organization. We have invested $200 million just
Wow.
as what we are encouraging card members to do is to go to these merchants and shop at these merchants. So there are really two parts of this. In India also, by the way, we've done this in many countries, including India. India is one of the identified countries. So in India, we've taken three cities. We've taken Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore, and we have taken these, as you're calling them, the SMSEs or SMEs, the small and medium enterprise merchants. And we are encouraging our card members. If a card member goes and incurs a transaction of, let's say, 1,500 rupees, then we are giving a cashback of 300 rupees to the card member, and he can do this 5 times during this duration of this program, which lasts for a couple of months. So it is a lot of stimuli which we are providing to the card member to go and shop at these merchants. And these merchants otherwise are, because of either a lot of people are scared to go out and shop. So suddenly they're seeing people come into the establishments. That's one aspect of it, which is a monetary aspect we're giving to the card members. And it's already picked up in a big way. So the merchants are really feeling they're reaping the benefit. The second is, things like basic hygiene stuff, sanitizers, point of purchase, whatever displays we can do. We are providing them with a lot of technological tools to help them improve, to tide over this particular cause at this point in time. I think, at the end of the day, we have had some measures that have taken place. As you're aware, the moratorium was there for 6 months. So that gave a lot of relief. It just got over a couple of days ago, but that gave a lot of relief to folks. This is a global phenomenon, and every country is dealing with it in their own way. So even in India, assigning a particular or setting aside an X amount as a percentage of GDP towards relief, this is going to help. It's going to help big time. And this is the time when, whether it could be a middle class family, whether it could be a medium sized merchant, whether it's the aviation industry or the hotel industry, everyone needs help. And
Yeah.
I think the necessary and adequate measures and steps are are taking place right now to do so.
If I'm going to use my Amex card and transact with some of the merchants who are engaging with you, then I get a cashback. So you are actually creating a kind of a momentum from both the sides, right? Like me as a consumer then gets to spend, is incentivized to spend more. Tell us more in terms of how are you doing your bit in creating more liquidity in the market?
Well, I'll be very candid and fully transparent. I'm not stepping out too much, so I'm doing a little more online. And me and my wife both. Sometimes I have to make sure I check her bills, but she's spending a lot online. And what we do is, on a more serious note, online is something which always there was a little bit of a concern in online card spend, that is it safe? Is it secure?
Yeah.
You're giving out your details. And American Express has world class, absolutely world class, security systems, risk management systems, fraud management systems, and we have a a chargeback thing. So a customer, if the customer disputes a charge, we do not ask a question. We straight away give what is called a temporary credit into the card member's account. So customers are, and that's why 90% of our spend is online. So they're very, very comfortable transacting from the comfort of their homes.
Is there a trend that you're seeing in the spend? Like, I was speaking to some of the folks in the fintech space, and they were saying that, one very interesting facet that has come out is that the Bharat is also now transacting online. So that is there. Now people are purchasing, and it's not cash on delivery, but it's actually using card, using wallets and everything. But I just wanted to understand, where are some of the spends that you're seeing
Yeah,
happening now?
and absolutely. And we look at data, we cut it by industries. So interestingly, I can name 2 or 3 industries where there's a lot of spend which is happening. Utilities, right? That's an amazing. Electricity, water, those kind of expenses now are being put on the card. Your insurance premium are being put on the card. Your health and fitness is being put on the card, right? And education, that has just gone through the roof. So all the courses, all the tuition fees and this fee and that fee, all relating to education, those are just 3 or 4 categories that have just shot up, that have just shot through the roof. They've really gone up significantly.
As American Express here in India, what are some of the things that you are specifically thinking in the next 12 months, 18 months for India?
Sure. So Shraddha, at American Express, our vision, which is a global vision, is no different than the vision we have in India, is to provide the world's best customer experience every day. So that's a foundation pillar on which we do everything. Within that, it's our impetus and our key imperative to get more and more customers into the and build a franchise, and we're building that very aggressively, whether it's on the consumer side of the business or the commercial side of the business, and adding on significantly new number of merchants. All that is on the acquisition front, whether it's consumer, commercial, or merchant. Then we also engage very actively with the card members, because once the card members are brought into the franchise, then you want to constantly engage with them, because you want them to not only have the card in their wallet, you want them to take the card out and spend it at merchants. That becomes a very important aspect. And as we do that, the underlying pillar of all this is, one of the ways in which we also do that is to have a very strong membership rewards program. That's a currency which we have. I mean, some people use, cashback. We use a very strong rewards program. So that gives incentive, and that comes no cost to the, to the card member, but that gives incentive for a customer to go and take the card out and spend, because these points add up. Those points can be converted into, you can buy, if you want a Bose speaker, you can buy a ticket, you can buy, a lovely meal, you can do all kinds of things with that. So we do that. And the underlying foundation, like I said, is service, because whatever we do at the end of the day, we are in a financial services space, right? It can be easily commoditized. One thing that cannot be copied or replicated is service. So if your service is of a particular standard,
Yeah.
then you're very sure that you will, meet and beat your competitors. And I feel very proud of the fact that this is the fifth consecutive year that in India we've been, rated as India's most trusted credit card brand.
What's the brand association today? It works in your favor because, of course, it's trusted and there's a premiumness attached to it. But tell us about American Express as a
Sure. So,
card.
Shraddha, we are very clear. We want to build size, scale, and relevance, right?
Hmm.
When you look at India, right, very clearly, there is, when you look at the pyramid, and in a way, it's a good way to define, right? Lots of eligible, there's in the target audience that we play in, there is so many eligible prospects who can tomorrow become an American Express card member. At the highest end of the pyramid is what we call the high net worth individuals or the super affluents. We want to own that space, or for a moment, let's call it the premium space. We want to own the premium space. Today, we have a significant penetration already into that space. Then you have the middle of the pyramid, right? That's where you have the middle class and higher middle class who are very well to do, and over there again there are lots of banks with who are our competitors. We also just given, I go back to that whole earlier number I gave you, only 10% of the private consumption expenditure is on some form of cards. So the opportunity is there for all. The biggest competitor is really cash. It's not about competing with each other. And what is very interesting is the younger generation. 70% of India is millennials.
Hmm.
70%, 47% of the workforce in India is millennials. So what we have consciously taken a decision is to also target this. We've come out with a card specifically targeted for millennials, right? Where everything, we have 5 or 6 benefits. So if you want to use Uber, you want to use Flipkart, you want to use Amazon, you want to use Ola, you're given multiple X points every time you do that. It's a very low threshold in fee because we realize that these are youngsters. They're starting off in their life. They may not want to pay a high fee, and that fee also gets reversed provided they reach a very small level of I think it's 25,000 rupees worth of annual spend. If they reach, there's no fee. It's free for life. So it's a very, what we would want people is to get them familiar with the brand, because what we haven't changed even for this lot, the kind of service which we are providing them is absolutely par excellence. It's absolutely at par with every other product. So we are very confident, and we have the conviction that once they experience our brand over a period of time, we want to be, we want to have them with us for the rest of their lives. And they will move as they move up in life. They'll move and they will move into higher and higher products. And we have an array of products to offer them, years down the line.
Manoj, I can't be talking to you and not talk about your engagement as a brand with startups and entrepreneurial community in India. Do you do that? Do you have any engagement? Do you look at this segment, this community of people?
Absolutely. I don't want to name any, but all I can tell you is I don't think a week goes by when we don't engage with at least one fintech player.
Oh.
And yeah, it is so important, right from, digital acquisition, onboarding, to engagement, to rewards, to attrition management, to CRM. I can just go on and on, right? Because these fintechs are so nimble, more so in India, right? They know it. They can, you give them a problem statement, they'll come back to you in 72 hours and say, okay, this is the, let's get, as a matter of fact, then the ball is back in our court. Okay, now what next, right? So we engage with them very often. We've got many solutions from them. Some are WIP. And it's absolutely a pleasure dealing with, you see the level of energy, level of, enthusiasm, and, the whole problem solving mindset that they have. It takes them, some of them may not be so familiar with, let's say the credit card industry, but it doesn't take them much to understand. But, whether it's building APIs, whether it's, open banking, whatever, these guys are totally on the ball. And they have, I think the way, they've constructed their own teams, which are nimble, because, they need to be nimble, but high energy, high enthusiasm, high engagement, and it's a pleasure working with them.
I saw in your profile that you've also been an entrepreneur. You've been in Amex forever. I think it's more than 20 years, right?
25.
But in between, you've also been an entrepreneur. So tell me about your own entrepreneurial journey and what got you to come back to Amex.
that entrepreneurial journey was an interesting one. It was a very short journey. It was for a period of 7 months. It was actually 11 months, out of which 7 months was the journey and 4 months was shutting the journey, closing it down. But all I can tell you is, I set out to do something, Shraddha. I'd worked 15 years by the time I started, 15 years in corporate life, all with American Express and 1 year with another private Indian bank. And then I started off on the journey. And I thought I had a very viable business model, right? I self-funded put in my life savings. I've come from a very modest background. If you want, I'll talk about it later. But so I put my entire life savings into what I put. I created this very basic, very very basic. I decided not to get any PE funding. Not that I would have got it even if I tried. Right? I'm talking about 2006 when there was no appetite for all this. And so I decided to just start off a distribution company where I was distributing assets and within assets, personal loans, credit cards, and insurance because I was playing to my strengths over there. And I set up a team. It was no digital. Digital was, digital. It was all paper-based stuff. And I became, I set up a team of 700-800 people across 8 cities.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
you must have invested a lot then.
Yeah, I did. Like I told you, my entire 15 years of savings went into that. And I got to a stage when I realized that two things were happening. One, because it was a mom and pop store at the end of the day when you compare, I couldn't even think of comparing myself even with the small banks, let alone the bigger banks. So the talent I was attracting was not the best talent, right? Because, they would rather go and work where they would, be more recognized and could make a career. So I wasn't being able to attract the best talent. The second was if they were working out to be good, then very soon they would, jump ship. They would go to, so attracting and retaining. I was struggling at both ends. So that was on the people front. On the business model itself, there was one of the, products I was selling was insurance. And insurance is sometimes can become a little, you don't know what goes on with commissions and all of that. And I've always, one of the things right from my childhood, from a compliance viewpoint, I have, my dad was in the forces. So, I can't, if I feel there's something not going right, I start panicking, right? So and that gave me a little bit of a unrest. And I said, okay, this is not for me. It's not working out financially for me. Commercially, it's not making sense for me. I'm not being able to attract the talent. And what is the, the future? I really don't see a future. What have I got myself into? So, it was within 6-7 months that realization came through. At that point in time, I'd sunk in a lot of money. So one was to go further. But then I said the sensible thing is to cut losses, right? And, that's where self-awareness and self-realization, if you have that, cut losses. And then I sat with just 1 or 2 people and these 800 or 1,000 people, I made sure everyone's provident fund was paid off so that later on it doesn't play on my conscience and nobody ever has, recourse to me, that, oh, you know what, even if it's 5,000 or 10,000 rupees, you haven't paid me this or you haven't paid me that. Every rental was paid off. Everyone's PF was paid off. And that's when I moved, I decided. But the learnings or the lessons I learned from that were quite interesting. The one lesson I learned, one was on the professional front and one was on the personal front. On the professional front, it was really, plan, before you get into something. It wasn't a well thought through business model that I went into. And I'm being very candid with you. Have a plan B. I did not have a plan B, right? Diversify. I had not diversified. I put all my eggs in one basket. Ideally, don't put in your own funding, right? I mean, you got to be sensible about it, right? So I'm, putting my life savings to send 2 kids to college very soon. So, a lot of that, and that puts mental stress, mental anxiety onto you. And so those were some of the learnings, I think, on the professional front. On the personal front, what was very interesting, Shraddha, was, I, for the first time, realized I'd worked, like I told you, 15 years at Amex, and I'd had a very, very good journey. I was very lucky along the way, getting some very good opportunities. I realized the power of the business card, And those 15 years, a lot of people, call them friends, call them whatever, who were around, 95% of them disappeared, right?
Hmm.
And, because they must be looking at me as a failed entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And, you have a very, very small set of people who are then your, of course, your immediate family and maybe a couple of friends. And then you realize you don't need more than that, right? So
Yeah.
people who were around you either with an agenda or with some purpose or with something, and suddenly they all like, wow, you look and they're gone. So, but that was a big learning for me. And I've kept that in mind. It's not that I'm out there with some kind of, a vindictive thing updating us kind of a thing, but it was a good enough learning.
There's so many people losing jobs, and there is a sense of gloom among young people. And that's why someone like you today, you are at the helm, you are such a senior, and senior I'm talking in terms of the rank, the position that you have at MX. How do you get to be where you are? And if you had to tell people that कैसे करना चाहिए, कैसे सोचना चाहिए?
I can only way I can try and answer that, Shraddha, is through my own journey, because I
Hmm.
may not be able to,
Yeah.
I don't want to preach, but I can definitely talk through my journey because it's worked for me. At
Yeah.
least, I feel it has. So, like I said, humble background. Dad was in the Air Force, kept moving around everywhere. That taught me a lot of things because became highly adaptable. Every 2 years we would move from one. Here
Yeah.
used to get posted. We'd move from one place to the other. Second, we never had any money. Honestly, there was nothing to fall back upon. So there was no, even then there was no plan B. So you had to study hard. You had to, and then I was always a very outdoor. I was a very keen, sportsman. I used to be playing squash at the national level. And as a matter of fact, basis that I got into SRCC,
Huh.
and I had very good. I was keen to become an engineer, and I had science in school, and I was very keen to stay on in Delhi. I wanted to get into Delhi College of Engineering, and there's something called PCM, which is Physics, Chem, and Maths, and I had 89, PCM, and DCE finished at 89.3. I missed it by 1 mark. Otherwise, and there was no interview. I would have been a civil engineer in DCE. I missed that, and SRCC also I missed by 1 mark because my percentage became 82.25 and whatever. I missed it, but then because I was playing squash at the national level, I got into SRCC in the sports section, which was no professor would come there for teaching and all that. It was a actually spent 2 years in Stephens, out of the 3 years, yeah, in your lovely canteen. And it was because I made some fantastic friends over there. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. In those 3 years of college was, at that point in time, I learned a lot. I was playing actively. I was studying on my own because, like I said, there was very little,
Yeah.
infrastructure. And I still remember, it was in my second year of college or something, and this came back to mind. I think about a year ago when I went to watch a cricket match in Firozshah Kotla. I took my son along one of those 2020 matches, and it just crossed my mind. I didn't share it with him because I said I don't know what he would think I am trying to do here, but Firozshah Kotla is at the ITO, right? And I remember my first I took a summer job for 45 days. Midday had got introduced, right?
Hmm.
And I'm talking about maybe 30 years ago. I was in college, and I was paid 60 rupees a day to sell papers at at that all students we were wearing a
Wow.
midday T-shirt in the heat. We were
Wow.
4 to 6 hours a day, and I can tell you those kind of experiences stay with you, right?
Yes.
And this dignity of labor, that's when you realize,
Yes.
there is so much of dignity of labor. It doesn't matter which family, what you come. I came, like I said, from a very modest background, but for me that was an amazing experience. And people are going around in the cars, and midday, like, it was just being introduced. And did I cherish those 60 rupees? Could take you a long way. And I cherish it? Absolutely. Then we would go to Nirula's and have ice creams and everything after that. So that was college for me. After that, I did my chartered accountancy. I was fortunate enough to uh, qualify in the first shot, and then I joined American Express in 1990, and I got an opportunity. to your answer your first part, one of the things I kept raising was my hand on every opportunity that came up. I joined in
Hmm.
risk. Then there was an opportunity in strategic planning in Tokyo, and they selected me for that. I went there. Then became the CFO for American Express in India, and so one thing led to the other to the other. And at every point in time, luck plays a part. You got to be at the right place at the right time also. But also, what plays a part is your own willingness to say, you know what, I'm ready to roll up my sleeves. I'm ready to do this because nothing. If you're not willing to work, tab chhod do, kuch nahi hoga. You have to
Hmm.
be willing to say, I am ready to take this on. Then only will your leaders take that chance. So
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough. I still believe you're absolutely right with what's going on in the COVID scenario right now. Jobs are at premium, but for it doesn't mean that people are. This will turn around. It will go away, but the smarter ones are going to land, to my mind, even better jobs than they had in the past.
What would you tell again to the young people in the country, to everyone who's watching and facing one of the toughest times in their maybe careers, in their lives? What would you tell them? And how are you dealing with the current times?
Yeah. So what I would say is hope. Have hope, have faith, have trust, show empathy, be there for each other, trust each other. It's a swan event. It's an event of absolutely crazy proportions. Will
Yeah.
we come out of it? Yes. Have the confidence, have the courage, have the conviction. We will come out of it. And be there for each other, support each other. Because if we are not there for each other at times like this, we don't show empathy, we will not be, we will land up in some amount of problems. The last piece I would add over there, Shraddha, is there is bound to be stress. There is bound to be some element of anxiety. Those elements are bound to be there. If they are there, don't think, there's nothing wrong being in showing your vulnerability. It's okay. Let people know that, this is what you're experiencing. Talk to others, reach out. This is the time, not only give a helping hand, but also figure out what are others around you experiencing and think about it like a community. Because if
Yeah.
we are, thinking about it like a community, I've started respecting nature more than I've ever done in the past. Really,
Hmm.
and look after your physical and mental health being. That is the most critical thing. Everything else will fall in place.
I have to ask you this question before I let you go. What has money meant for you? What does it mean to you? Money.
It meant very different to me maybe 10, 15 years ago because like I said, middle of my career, I was maybe whatever, 35 years old with zero money, zero bank account. And then I moved to Singapore. There also, my kids didn't like it. I moved back. So effectively, after working 18 years, my bank balance was zero. And
Wow.
that's, and then, you have to send two kids to college. So at that time, it meant a lot to me. And then since then, I was prudent about saving. I don't have one of those fancy lifestyles and stuff like that. So I'm wearing a Fitbit. I'm not into watches. I'm not into, I love my basic stuff. What I need to make sure is that I'm covered. My family is covered for a rainy day, right? I have, a roof above my head, and now that my kids are provided for, those days are gone. You need to set this aside for this kid, that aside for that kid, and we should all set money aside for ourselves to lead a good life. I think
Yeah.
that's so important because I think everyone gets into this whole accumulation of wealth that we forget to lead a good life. So I think in my view, what is critical is once and everyone can do their own math because, for somebody, maybe 2 lakhs is enough. For somebody, 5 lakhs a month is enough. It's different for different people. My needs are very modest. I know what my needs are. And, at the end of the day, beyond that, I'm not going to start eating more, consuming more just because, more money. I'll be very happy with that. I don't want more stress. I mean, I'm very clear about it.